This question prepared from Geography Grade 11 Unit 2. The first question: why has the Koppen climatic classification system become the most extensively utilized system in the modern time? Why has the Koppen climatic classification system become the mostly extensively utilized system in modern time? A. It was the first system ever created. B. It based on the ancient Greek system. C. It has a strong element to vegetation in the soil domains. D. It accounts for wind and the cloud cover. This Koppen climatic classification system is the mostly utilized system in the modern because C. It has a strong element to vegetation in the soil domains. What are the primary parameters used for classifying global climate system like Koppen? What are the primary parameters used for classify global climate in system like Koppen's? A. Wind speed, air pressure and the humidity. B. Natural vegetation temperature and the precipitation. C. The ocean current, latitude and soil types. D. Number of sand day, cloud cover and the elevation. The parameter used for the classifying global climate system like the Koppen is used. B. Natural vegetation temperature and the precipitation. The Koppen system classifies the many terrestrial climate type, which type is following is not one of the primary Koppen climate types listed. The Koppen system classified the many terrestrial climate types, which of the following is not one of the primary Koppen climate types listed. A. Tropical. B. Dry. C. Mesoterminal. D. Highland. D. Highland is not the climate classification of the Koppen climate. What is stated weakness of the Koppen classification system? What is stated weakness of the Koppen climatic classification system? A. It is too complex to implement it. B. It fails to account for precipitation intensity and the daily temperature extremely. C. It does not use temperature and the precipitation data. D. It is only applicable to European climate. The weakness of the Koppen climate classification is B. It is failed to account for precipitation intensity and the daily temperature extremes. Why is Trewartha climate classification system popular among geographers? The Trewartha climate classification system is popular among geographers. A. It includes complex statistical calculation. B. It is based solely on genetic classification. C. It is simplicity using just precipitation and temperature. D. It was developed before Koppen system. Trewartha climate classification system popular among the geographers. C. Its simplicity using just precipitation and temperature. Ethiopian local climate classification is primarily based on what criteria? Ethiopian local climate classification is primarily based on what criteria? A. Latitude, longitude and proximity to the ocean. B. Wind pattern, air mass and the Coriolis effect. C. Heat temperature and the growing season length. D. Soil type, natural vegetation and the annually rainfall. The Ethiopia local climate classification is the criteria: C. High temperature and the growing seasonal length. The traditional Ethiopia climate classification, which zone is described as hot land located between 500 and 1500 meters above sea level. The traditional Ethiopia climate classification, which zone is described as hot lowland located between 500 and 1500 meters sea level above. A. Berha. B. Kolla. C. Wenidaga. D. Dega. B. Kolla. In the Ethiopia Dega archaeological zone, what are the most common crops? In the Ethiopia Dega archaeological zone, what are the most common crops? A. Sargem and finger millet. B. Wheat, teff and barley. C. Wheat highland pulses and highland oil seeds. D. Barley. C. Wheat highland pulses and highland oil seeds. Why do inland continental area have wider temperature range than coastal location? Why do inland continental area have wider temperature range than the coastal location? A. They are at higher latitude. B. They heat up and they cool down more quickly than area near large body of water. C. They receive more solar isolation. D. They are always at higher elevation. The continental area have wider temperature ranges. The coastal location of B. They heat up and they cool down more quickly than area near large body of water. The that kilode can play considerably role in daily temperature change. How are those kilode typical formed in tropical and mid-latitudinal locales? That is a kilode can play considerably role in daily temperature change. How are those kilode typically formed in tropical and mid-latitudinal locales? A. Orographic lifting. B. By frontal system. C. By conventional in the late afternoon. D. By cyclonic activity. C. By conventional in the late afternoon. What is fundamental task of atmospheric circulation according to the second law of thermodynamics? What is fundamental task of atmospheric circulation according to the second law of thermodynamics? A. To creating weather pattern. B. To balance energy inequality. B. To balance energy inequality across latitude. C. To generate wind for power. D. To distribute moisture global. B. The balance energy inequality across latitude. The seasonal movement of the subtropical high pressure has climate implication because the seasonal movement of the subtropical high pressure has climate implication because A. It is the source of the surface of westerlies. B. It causes the Coriolis effect. C. It direct control ocean current. D. It prevent rainfall all year around. A. It is the source of surface westerlies is the seasonal movement of the subtropical high pressure climate. The correlate effect cases are two. The correlate effect cases are two. A. Increasing temperature. B. Shift its trajectory and the speed. C. Rise and the form cloud. D. Lose moisture. The correlate effect case is B. Shift its trajectory and the speeds of airs. How do ocean currents primarily affect climate distribution? How do ocean currents primarily affect climate distribution? A. By changing the salt content of the air. B. Balancing energy on the air surface, often falling wind from pressure zone. C. By causing the correlate effect. D. By creating tide that influencing temperature. The ocean current affect climate distribution is B. By balancing energy on the surface of often falling wind from pressure zones. In mountain area, why does the climate fluctuation greatly over short distances? In mountain area, why does the climate fluctuation greatly over short distances? A. Because of constant rainfall. B. Because of fast fluctuation in heat and hence temperature. C. Because they are always located near the ocean. D. Because of unique soil composition. The mountain area, the fluctuation of the climate, greatly over short distances. B. Because of the fast fluctuation in heat and hence temperature. What is standard normal lapse rate of temperature in the troposphere? What is standard normal lapse rate of temperature in the troposphere? A. 3.0 degrees Celsius per kilometer. B. 3.4 degrees Celsius per kilometer. C. 10.0 degrees Celsius per kilometer. D. 1.0 degree Celsius per kilometer. The normal lapse of rate of temperature is troposphere. D. 6.4 degrees Celsius per kilometer. The orographic rainfall occurring on the day side of the mountain. Orographic rainfall occurring on the day side of mountain. A. Leeward. B. Downward. C. Windward. D. Rain shadow. C. Windward. The orographic rainfall is occurring on the windward side of mountain. The ancient Greek categorized the world in three zones based on habitability, which zone was thought to offer best climate and habitats. The ancient Greek categorized the world into three zones based on habitability, which zone was thought to offer the best climate and habitat. A. Frigid zone. B. Temperate zone. C. Torrid zone. D. Tropical zone. The temperate zone. The genetic classification of climate is the more scientific, desirably, but also. The genetic classification of climate is more scientifically, desirably, but also. A. More simple to implement. B. More complex to implement and less successful overall. C. Based only on simple observation. D. The most widely used system today. B. The more complex to implement and the less successful overall. In the Koppen system, which climate type is characterized by deficit precipitation most of the year? In the Koppen system, which climate type is characterized by deficit precipitation most of the year? A. C. B. D. C. A. D. B. D. B is most the deficit precipitation of the year. The polar ice cap climate EF is characterized by A. Cool summer with mosses and lichens. B. A warmest means average above 10 degrees Celsius. C. A land surface permanently covered with snow and ices. D. Seasonal dominance of maritime tropical air masses. The polar ice cap climate is C. A land surface permanently covered with snow and ice or the glaciers. Why might tundra-like condition be observed in low latitude tropical region? Why might tundra-like condition be observed in low latitude tropical region? A. Because of the correlation effect. B. Because of the effect of high elevation. C. Because of proximity to the ocean. D. Because of low atmospheric pressure. B. Because of the effect of high elevation. What is albedo is defined? What is albedo is as defined? A. The amount of energy absorbed by a surface. B. Fraction of incoming sunlight reflected by surface. C. The measurement of humidity in the air. D. The temperature decrease with heat. The albedo defined as B. The fraction of incoming sunlight reflected by a surface. Which factor is identified as the most fundamental element influencing global temperature and dispersion? Which factor is identified as the most fundamental element influencing global temperature dispersion? A. Ocean current. B. Atmospheric pressure. C. Seasonal variation in the sun angle and daylight. D. Cloud cover. The most fundamental element influential global temperature. C. The seasonal variation in the sunlight angle and daylight. The main criticism that the Koppen system is inconsistent is because the main criticism that is the Koppen system is inconsistent is because A. It is used both temperature and precipitation. B. Zone A, C, D and E are based on temperature, while Zone B is based on precipitation evaporation ratio. C. It does not consider wind. D. Its boundaries are too empirical. The main Koppen climate criticism is B. Zone A, C, D and E are based on temperature, while Zone B is based on precipitation and evaporation ratio.